This is different.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Very often we like with a handsome man like that.
Oh, stop. Flattery will get you everywhere.
Well.
You want to buckle up? It's the law.
Oh, yes.
Half a day, Congresswoman Madeleine Bordallo, thanks for joining me, Cruising with the Candidates.
Well,
And-
half a day to you too.
All right, I know you're working hard, especially for the general election. And before we talk about the general, I kind of wanted to gloss over the primary election and some interesting results there. You know, traditionally, I've been told that the Democrats come out for the primary, but this primary, it seemed like it was all Republican. What are your thoughts on not just the results, but maybe the voting trends and whether or not the primary election is, as some analysts are calling it, an artificial election?
Well, it's kind of hard to tell, and I will be very frank with you. I was surprised at the outcome, but everyone that I met prior to the election said there would be low turnout. This was not the general election, so I noticed in the newspaper I was looking at the trends from early days, and every year there's fewer people that come out for these primaries, so that didn't surprise me. You can't really blame anything. The weather was pretty good. It was rainy in the morning, but I think the young people, I don't think a lot of young people voted in the primary. That was my feeling, but I really didn't think that it would be that low, you know, 40%. And hopefully now I think the real race is on with the general election. People come out.
You've had a storied career politically and of course personally, and I just am kind of wondering, are you at a crossroads now with the and let's just look at the black and white of the primary results with your opponent Margaret Metcalf getting more votes than you? Is that something that caused you to maybe go back to the drawing board, or do you just throw it out the window?
I never take any election for granted, and my husband taught me that. In fact, everything I learned in politics was pretty much with Ricky, and he always said, no matter what the situation is, if you're the favored candidate, still go out there and work hard. So, well, I looked at the numbers of the gubernatorial team on the Republican side, and then I looked at the numbers of the delegate on the Republican side.
There's a bit of a disparity there.
That's right. So those are people, I think, that went to the polls and just did not vote at all for the delegate, and will do so in the general election. But I was still working very hard.
Yeah, I've seen you out there waving, and is there anything you're doing different with this campaign? Because, you know, I think out there in the streets, people are saying that Margaret Metcalf might be your toughest opponent to date, which I think is saying something, because you've had a couple guys on the Republican side, you know, seeming like they were going to give you a run for your money.
Well, yes, last term I had my opposition was a veteran senator.
Yeah.
And a minority leader, to say, you know. So, well, I'm just going to continue to work hard, and I think the numbers will be pretty different in the general election. I really do. I mean, and then also the independents. They don't normally vote in a primary. You know, they kind of stay away and wait till they can cross over and choose the person they want. So, but, you know, I wish her well, my opponent. I have a lot of years on her, you know. I've been in public office, elected office, 38 years.
Wow.
And another 26 years of public service, you know, nonprofit organizations and that type of thing. So, and people ask me, say, well, you know, how long are you going to continue?
Yeah.
Congress is very different, and you work very hard to get where I am today. And I think if you talk to Mr. Underwood, with the other two now are deceased, but Mr. Underwood will tell you that the longer you stay, the higher you get, and you know,
The more friends you make.
You make friends. That's why I go on many of these congressional delegations. I have brought over 100 members of the United States Congress to Guam, just so they get to know what it's like. They have no idea.
With the build-up, I think it is a matter of comfort and security, and my way of thinking on the build-up is that, you know, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Uncle Sam says, hey, we need more troops, we need this, we need that. I mean, it's going to happen, and, you know, feathers are going to be ruffled, and you've ruffled a few feathers.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? With the case of Retidian, does it ever reach a point where you just want to say, I mean, grab people by the lapels and say, hey, look, you know, I mean, we need this, and you continue to protest, and you end up we end up getting the short end of the stick instead of getting something meaningful from Uncle Sam.
It does become frustrating. I will tell you, it does. But I've been at it for 12 years now. Ever since I started, there was talk of the build-up, and then we had, you know, different groups, and I see the challenges. People say, well, we want the build-up, but only if it's good for Guam. Well, I certainly couldn't agree more. It's
also an interesting issue that you grew up here, it's your home, and whereas we have Medcav who spent a lot of her life off island, and now she's making the step back to Guam to try and be involved with the process. And, you know, there are people out there who say, oh, where have you been, you know, the last, 10, 20 years? Do you think that because you've been here and in DC representing Guam, that maybe you have a better understanding of the issues that affect us?
Well, I would think I should have. Yes, I do. I think that it takes living here for many years. I've been on Guam since 1948, never left until I went to live part-time in Washington. But of course, I still vote. I have a home here and so forth. But no, it takes continuous living, and that's very important. I don't see how you could keep in touch with everything that's going on.
Facebook doesn't cut it.
No.
I've talked to you time and time again over the years. It kind of seems to me that we're seeing a fired up Madeleine Bordallo.
That's right.
Would you say that you're fired up for this general?
Always fired up. I'm telling you, they call me Miss Guam. Here she comes. She wants something more, and I normally get my way.
There you go. So, well, good luck, Congresswoman, and we'll see if you get your way this general election.
Thank you, and thank you for the interview. And I remember you at a senior citizens.
Oh, all the time.
Many years ago, and you were so funny.
Singing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not very funny today.
No, put on my serious hat.
I'm very serious.
Brought to you by Triple J, celebrating 30 years of putting our customers first.